or planet? Consume with care. That's the theme for the National Environment Awareness Week, being commemorated all week long. In today's Jamaica magazine, we touch on how stakeholders are working with citizens to do just that. Welcome, I'm Audrey. Coming up, amendments to the Administrator General Act passed recently in Parliament. Learn what that means for you. Plus, in commemoration of Environment Awareness Week, we test the public's knowledge on the matter of climate change and also take a look at how beach erosion is being handled in one part of the island. Let's get things cracking with this important message.
Prevent chikungunya. Get rid of mosquito breeding sites around the home. Empty dish drainers and keep refrigerator troughs dry. Punch holes in the bottom of tin cans before placing them in the garbage. Keep houseplants in damp soil instead of water and keep flower pot saucers dry. Keep drains, ditches, roof gutters and eaves clean so water will drain properly. And remember to open your windows during fogging. Also, wear light-colored clothing and cover your body as much as possible to prevent mosquito bites. For more information on chikungunya prevention, call the Ministry of Health toll-free at 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683. Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Stacey Ann Smith, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, June 2. National Security Minister Peter Bunting has called on rank-and-file police to end their apparent protest action, even as contingency measures are implemented to mitigate the impact. Police officers have reportedly been on sick-out since Monday night in protest of government's newest wage offer. The Security Minister says the action is not appropriate for an essential service and exposes the public to unnecessary risk. In a statement this morning, Minister Bunting revealed that contingency measures had been put in place overnight, including the increased use of JDF personnel. At the same time, he called on the executive of the Police Federation to return to the bargaining table and appeal to their membership to restore normalcy. The Finance Ministry has reportedly offered rank-and-file police a 6.5% increase in Year 1 and 5.5% in Year 2. This is comprised of the 3.5% increment paid to members of the JCF each year, plus the additional 3% offer in Year 1 and 2% in Year 2. Several other items of claim have already been agreed. People who commit crimes against children could have as many as 10 years added to their sentences, with new legislation being pursued by government. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller recently announced plans to create a new offence called parental neglect, as well as implementing harsher sentences for crimes where the victim is a child. Justice Minister Senator Mark Golding recently explained what those new sentences could look like.
If the crime is one that carries a maximum sentence of 10 years or more, it will allow an additional 10 years to be added if the victim is a child. If the crime is one that carries a maximum sentence of less than 10 years, then the court can increase it by 50% over what it would otherwise have been. Similarly, if there's a fine involved, the fine can be increased by up to 50%.
The Justice Minister was addressing the first in a series of town hall meetings to address citizens on issues affecting children. It was held in Frankfield, Clarendon. He also revealed that neglectful parents would be targeted by the courts through mandatory parenting classes. Meanwhile, child abuse cases that go before the courts are to be given priority and heard quickly. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has pledged government's commitment to protect the rights of domestic workers. This involves work to ratify the International Labour Organization's Convention on the Protection of Domestic Workers and is in support of the Decent Work agenda.
We do not currently have the legislative framework to support ratification, but the Ministry of Labour indicated that they will work towards the policy framework and will discuss the possibility of domestic worker legislation.
Domestic worker legislation would cover issues such as long working hours without adequate compensation, low wages, poor working conditions, and verbal, physical, and sexual harassment. The Prime Minister was speaking on Friday at the second annual Grace Kennedy Heather Little White Household Worker Award ceremony. Rosetta Steer was named the 2015 Household Worker of the Year. Government is taking action to improve patient experience in all public health facilities.
I've said to my chairman of all the 4 regional health authorities, we must deal with the misery level, the things that are creating the little miseries out there.
Minister Ferguson was speaking at a JIS think tank last week. He said customer service improvement had also become a priority at all locations.
We have a draft customer care policy now that will be going out for consultation with the associations, etc., because we also are saying to our health workers that we must be courteous, we must be compassionate in how we treat our patients, even as we appeal to our clients and our patients not to abuse our health workers.
Jamaica Promotions Corporation JAMPRO is developing a local spa industry to tap into the $2 trillion global health and wellness sector. With funding from the Caribbean Development Bank and the Caribbean Export Development Agency, JAMPRO has established the Jamaica Spa Association.
With Jamaica's growing tourist arrivals and proximity to the United States, we anticipate visitors spilling over to our shores to take advantage of our spa amenities, which for the most part are being operated in resort communities across Jamaica.
With the formation of the Spa Association, professionals are to be trained and a products industry developed to serve the sector. And finally, a new custos of St. Catherine will be installed next week. Pastor of the Spanish Town-based Filippo Baptist Church, Reverend Jeffrey Mackenzie, has been appointed and will be officially installed on Thursday, June 11. The new custos has given over 40 years of service to the Jamaica Baptist Union and has been a commissioned Justice of the Peace since 1997. Ahead of his installation, all Justices of the Peace for St. Catherine are required to sign a new magistrate roll by Monday, June 8. The magistrate roll is currently available for signing at the Filippo Baptist Church in Spanish Town. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stacey Ann Smith. Thank you for watching.
Driver, slow down and stop the reckless overtaking, no?
You never hear so time is money.
Easy, driver. Well, no minimum man and taxi driver drive so bad.
Why him have to drive so hard? Me not gonna make you kill off me and me picnic them.
One stop driver. Make her come off this bus. Me say stop.
Me coming with you. The rest will not take chance in your life. Lord of mercy. That could have been us.
And look how we want the money.
Passengers, your safety is in your hands. Say one-stop driver and get off if the driver is speeding, overtaking recklessly, and not obeying the rules of the road. Don't give away your life. It is too precious.
Last Tuesday, the House of Representatives passed legislation to speed up the process of transferring inherited estates or lands. This was done through amendments to the Administrator General Act, which will resolve the various legal challenges that have caused many inherited estates to remain dormant in the legal system for decades. Learn more about this amendment and how it will affect you.
It has been specifically tailored to address the peculiar cultural, social, and economic realities of Jamaica as they relate to the passing of property from one generation to the next. We have often lamented that our laws are antiquated. This one in particular, Mr. Speaker, is anti-poor.
This bit of legislation now, Mr. Speaker, will provide for a shorter time frame in which conversion can take place, where the representation which is required for the conversion of capital into wealth will be made available.
This bill, Mr. Speaker, will enable the Administrator General to distribute the assets of the primary estate, notwithstanding that a grant of administration has not been obtained in any of the succeeding estates. In essence, Mr. Speaker, the bill will empower the Administrator General to transfer properties to secondary beneficiaries as long as they are able to prove their relationship to the deceased.
We welcome it, and it will have great movement in the society.
This bill will transform lives as it will release productive assets to the rightful owners, which have been tied up for years.
This bill will help us to transform Jamaica into an ownership society.
The month of June is being commemorated as Disaster Preparedness Month, and if you haven't started putting together your supplies of tin food, flashlight, bottled water and so on, trust me, now is the time. Prevention is definitely better than cure, so up next we share how you can be prepared.
An unexpected natural or man-made catastrophe. Disasters almost always have a negative impact on people, goods, and services. They may also permanently change the natural environment. A disaster can seriously disrupt how society functions, causing widespread human, material, or environmental losses. It usually exceeds society's ability to cope using its own resources. There are two main types of disasters: natural and man-made. Natural disasters include earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, landslides, and droughts. Flooding can also be man-made. Other man-made disasters include fires, chemical spills, and transportation accidents.
Damage by disasters is sometimes immeasurable and may vary depending on the geographical location, climate, soil type, and degree of vulnerability.
In addition to physical impact, disasters may have an economic or psychological effect. Physical effects include death, injury, food scarcity, homelessness, disease outbreak, and the displacement of the population. The economic effects of disasters may include destruction of crops, destruction of property, disruption of production, and a setback to economic development programs. The psychological effect of disasters may include the loss of spirit and low morale among citizens, the trauma of displacement, and the loss of faith in the future. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, says there are several factors contributing to the risk of disasters in Jamaica.
We have to start with development, where we cite development and the enforcement of development. Lack of management of the space, where we have housing in relation to where we have environmentally sensitive areas. That can lead to disasters. Also, if you don't have proper mitigation infrastructure to reduce or to prevent the effects of the hazards, natural or man-made, on the environment and on people, then we have disasters occurring. Waste management. If we continue to dump into our waterways, into our drainage ways, if we don't maintain our drainage infrastructure, then we could have a disaster occurring on our hands.
Over the years, disasters have caused billions of dollars in losses, especially in the agriculture sector.
So how can we minimize the impact of disasters on life and property? Effective disaster management.
Disaster management is a process or strategy that is implemented when any type of catastrophic event takes place. It involves the management of both the risk and consequences of an event. Disaster management may be initiated when anything threatens to disrupt normal operations or puts the lives of human beings at risk. The main purpose being to allow those affected to overcome adverse effects and return to normal functions as quickly as possible. There are several stages of disaster management.
You have the preparedness, mitigation or prevention, response, and early recovery. In the preparedness phase, you want to do all of your training, capacity building, both of the local actors, the community actors, all the way up to the business sector and government. Mitigation is the second along the line, depending on where you start. And in mitigating, you're looking at putting in measures to prevent or to reduce the effects of the hazards on man and man's environment. If you fail to do all of the other things and do them well, then you're going to have responses to have to mount to the impact of these events. And so you're talking about your search and rescue, your emergency sheltering, your relocation issues during an event, so to speak, i.e. evacuation. All of that takes place in your response. And then you have your early recovery, which is after the event, after the impact, after the relief operations. You now begin to recover the systems, replace the impacted infrastructure and housing, and to get livelihoods up and running again, get people back to productive life.
Did you know climate change is decreasing the quality and quantity of water?
Climate change is expected to affect all aspects of food security, especially in the tropical region of which we are a part.
Climate change-related hazards such as prolonged droughts, more severe storms, and the overall irregularity of rainfall. These climatic stressors have resulted a reduction of water in our rivers and watersheds.
Youth, we are depending on you to spread the message of climate change and its impacts. Be a climate change agent in your home, school, or community. With climate change, we must change.
As you heard at the top of the show, this week is being commemorated as National Environment Awareness Week. In light of this, we went out our road to see just how aware Jamaicans are on the crucial topic of climate change.
Climate change do a lot of things, you know. It brings forth like disasters, sometimes sickness too and them thing there. So I know sometimes it affect the economy too, because you know amount of spending have to do back for get back on them thing there.
The government, I think they place someone in charge for climate change, and I know that how we treat the environment impacts the climate, and how we dispose of our garbage and all of that, the fumes that come from our cars.
What I do know about climate change is that we as humans, we do have a lot to do with it, and our practices, example burning and whatnot, yes, it does affect us negatively. So I think we need to all take that into consideration.
Well, I know that climate change is actually affecting a lot of, you know, the things has to do with the environment and the elements of the environment. As a matter of fact, I was actually a part of the climate change song, and I was actually going around in a lot of the schools and, you know, to talk to people about the kids about climate change and global warming. So it's something that people need to take seriously, because it's actually affecting our environment and affecting the whole earth.
Climate change is all about the nature of the earth. That's the first thing. So you see this year you can get more sun and less rain. Next year you can get earthquake in some part of the earth, or less rain, or you get more breeze and less water. Like how you see New York are going now. Last year New York wasn't so cold enough, and in the next 5 years from now, people have to go left New York and find some Caribbean island, because it will get more icier and more cooler.
We certainly are being kept informed there based on those responses. Okay, so let's talk a little more on this important issue. One major effect of climate change is the erosion of our beaches due to global warming and, unfortunately, our own negative practices. In our next feature, we look at how residents in the Alligator Pond community in South Jamaica are working with stakeholders to tackle this challenge.
You know, from I was a young girl, I never see the beach like this. I never see it really still like this. We all hear some in our earlier days that the sea going to come in, but we never believed that it would come in like this. We step up at the sand like here and step in the sea because there is no beach.
As a fisherman, I never said it look, but this is the further out, you know. These buildings, we used to the couple chain away from these buildings. So the sea come over more now. So we'd have to say a global warming, say just come up more, sea rise more.
All right, you see this building right behind you, when it was built, it was further from the sea. And if you look at the manhole that's right there, you see that the sea take it off from the building completely and it's now removed.
Do you notice how close the beach is to me? Is it a case of nature taking its course? To explore these and other questions, the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA held a special consultative meeting with residents of Alligator Pond, located on the coastal border of Manchester and St. Elizabeth.
We want to have some exchanges to discuss the present issues, the present conditions, the causes of the erosion, and importantly, speak to some possible solutions going forward. This is really a sensitization as we continue the dialogue.
And NEPA opened the discussion with a worrisome point of fact. Many coastal areas in Jamaica are experiencing beach erosion, with the problem occurring increasingly across the south coast in places like Alligator Pond and Black River.
There's no one cause of this phenomenon. In different places, it might be a multiplicity of causes, right? Both natural and man-made. We've probably heard about climate change. We've probably heard about that climate change and sea level rise.
Experts tell us that climate change leads to increasing temperatures, what we refer to as global warming. This in turn causes regions known to be extremely cold to get warm, melting ice and causing sea levels to rise. Additionally, with these extreme temperatures, over the years Jamaica has experienced a number of hurricanes which have caused a big impact on our coastlines, damaging reefs that are critical to coastal protection.
Fishermen will be familiar with the fact that the reef protects the shoreline. Right? It acts to break the waves, and it acts as the source in a lot of instances for the sediment that comes onto the beach and supplies the beach with sand.
Then there are the economic and social consequences of damaged reefs.
Yeah, because we have a local fish stall, and so we have to move it off of the sea, so we have to move it and carry it further on the land. And right now, anywhere we are going to come to it.
This is where we get our livelihood. This is the source of sending our children to school and doing our economic business.
Coming out of the community consultations, NEPA and residents have put forward a range of suggestions to address the situation. Among them, the erection of artificial breakwaters, structures designed to protect gently sloping beaches and prevent coastal erosion. Other options are also being explored.
Proposals are being considered as we speak for possible works to address the problem. Right, so that proposal is being prepared now, and we would expect that following that the works or the recommendations from that study would point to the relevant solutions.
Residents have meanwhile been reminded of the role they have to play to prevent the situation from getting worse.
We heard that you have stopped dynamiting for fish, so that is good, because that needs to stop right along the south coast, whether it's Black River, Old Harbour Bay, Portland Bight. That is the message that we're sending out, that needs to stop, right? And we're taking some serious action against that.
In the meantime, Alligator Pond residents agree NEPA's decision to engage them was a solid move.
It was good, and it gave us a hope
It is interesting, and it has brought some kind of hope to us that we can restore the shoreline at some point in time.
If we are not properly educated concerning the marine life, where we kill off the eggs, where we kill the turtles, where we kill the protected species, we kill the reefs, we kill the life, and we kill our own livelihood. So we are our worst enemy. So the government, along with the citizens and along with the police, as we come together as one unit, we can make it better.
Clean, beautiful beaches and oceans have always been an important part of life. We can make a contribution whether we live on the shoreline or miles away.
This is how we close the pages of today's Jamaica magazine. Keep connected with all our latest news by visiting our website, jis.gov.jm. We also invite you to share your feedback by dropping a line at jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. If social media is your thing, then download our JIS News app on your smartphone or keep the link via Facebook and Twitter. Remember to take care of the environment and it will take care of you. On behalf of the JIS team, I'm Audrey Williams, wishing you a good day.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.